Hello everyone, thank you for watching this video. This is Luis Mota and I am in representation for all my team. I'm going to expose you about aerospace industry and technology impact in society. Okay, more than 49 billion kilometers per year are traveled by commercial and cargo travel flights. Aviation has established a global network niche in serving business and travelers in all parts of the world. As an industry, it has become a source of considerable economic activity as it creates jobs that directly serve passengers at airlines, airports, and provides air navigation services. In 2014, the total economic impact of air transport was estimated by the Air Transport Action Group (ATAG), including direct, indirect, induced, and relating to tourism, which reached $2.7 trillion, about 3.5% of the world gross domestic product (GDP). In addition, airlines, air navigation service providers, and airports directly employed more than 3 million people, 1.1 million in the aircraft manufacturing sector, 5.5 million in other airport positions, and more than 52.8 million in direct jobs related to tourism. That is why aviation facilitates tourism, contributes to the speed and reliability of the market, generating economic growth. Okay. The aviation industry relies on its own activities and those of its suppliers to generate wealth and jobs. These activities are known as direct and indirect direct impacts. By creating jobs directly involved with airline passengers, airports, and air navigation service providers, the aviation industry has become a considerable source of economic activity. To transport 3.8 billion passengers to various destinations in the world and transport 53 million tons of cargo, almost 10 million direct jobs had to be generated. Indirect impacts. Indirect impacts include companies and activities that derive their benefits from aviation, such as fuel suppliers, airport construction companies, aircraft manufacturing, products sold at airports, among many others. In 2014, more than 11 million indirect jobs benefited, contributing approximately $761 billion to economic activity. Induced impacts. The impact of aviation in other industries also improves its efficiency through relationships with better quality suppliers in other parts of the world, the implementation of immediate delivery services, allowing international investments, and makes it easy to create distribution centers in different parts of the world. Aviation as a supporter of tourism. In many countries, tourism is a major source of foreign exchange earnings, thanks to the close relationship between tourism and aviation. Aviation supports more than 36 million jobs within the tourism sector, paying approximately $192 billion in 2014. a year to world GDP. Analysis of the regional impact of aviation. Africa, the greatest growth potential of all the regions in the world will be found in Africa. This is thanks to the fact that it has a growing industrial sector and that it also has clear potential to serve a large population that is developing. Asia and Pacific. The Asia-Pacific region is the clear example of impressive growth in recent decades. This is due to an administration on the part of governments that has released air services helping to increase regional and national connectivity. Europe. European markets are the most distinguished in the world because they are liberalized and integrated. Air transport provides 12 million jobs and contributes $860 billion to European GDP. Latin America. Although the industry has had remarkable growth, this sector is expected to grow even more in the next 2 decades. There are limitations to exploit its economic benefits, such as infrastructure deficiencies and high taxes on the sale of or use of air transport. North America. Being in manufacturing power and having high standards of aircraft production has given it great growth in the aeronautical industry, which provides more than 7.8 million jobs and contribution to the North American GDP of $72 billion. North America is the example that if we exploit aviation, we will see it clearly reflect in the economic, cultural, and political growth of a region. Environmental impacts by aviation. Aviation industry represents an important portion of this generation of greenhouse effect gases and is going to grow exponentially in the next year. According to the ICCT, total CO2 emissions from all commercial operations were equal to 918 million metric tons in 2018. That means 2.4% of global CO2 emissions from the use of fossil fuels. The implied annual compound growth rate of emissions, 5.7%, will triplicate carbon dioxide emissions by 2050. Passenger transport represents 81% of commercial aviation's carbon emissions in 2018. The main countries on this issue are world powers, and only the USA and China include 36%, and it is believed that China will outperform this rate in the next 30 years. Okay, let's talk about satellites. In 1957, the Soviet Union succeeded in launching Sputnik, the first artificial satellite in orbit. Since then, the number of satellites launched is more than 8,000. Right now, there are three main functions that they are doing. Communication. It is used as telephone and television relays and consumes more than 75% of the available capacity. Remote sensing satellites. These are basically cameras in the sky, meant to observe the constant change appearance of the Earth's surface or the evolutionary condition of the atmosphere above it. The first satellite with this objective was Telstar 1. Other examples are meteorological satellites. They not only transmit visual images of clouds and rainy areas, they measure temperature, humidity, and wind speed, but also to detect any signs of global warming or to monitor the progress of meteorological events abnormal, are also widely employed to study land use, since they can detect those areas that are given over to specific varieties of crops, and analyze the different kinds of vegetation on the surface of Earth. They are used to observe the seasonal distribution of ice due prone to oceans, to measure the advance and the retreat of glaciers, to keep a watchful eye on floods or forest fires, and to monitor the encroachment of the desert on previously fertile areas in the arid regions of the world. Navigational. The most widely known is the Global Positioning System, or GPS, a network spacecraft was code signals to ground-based equipment allow the exact location of the receiver on the surface of the Earth to be calculated to within few meters. The system was originally developed by the US military authorities, and then it was widely used by aviation and marine interests. Today, the receivers have been miniaturized enough to allow convenient use for hiking and other purely recreational activities. We can appreciate very common utilities and advantages that satellites provide to our daily life. Although satellites provide society of lots of commodities, they have first need applications. We can see the International Space Station. Future enhances of the aviation industry. It is impossible to know exactly what will happen in the future. We must also consider each possible social impact to predict the most probable stage. In so many sources and pages, authors predict their assumptions based on three possible stages. In the first table of figure, we can see an estimate of a realistic scenario in which everything will increase linearly because the trend will be the same as the current. In the second table, we see a great difference between the two columns. It means that we expect a serious increase in passengers flow comparing to 2016. In the third table of figure, we can see the aforementioned negative future where the increase will be less productive than the other two cases. As we saw, the aviation industry is expected to grow significantly in the coming decades, no matter what the future will be, with increased passengers demand forecast to 2036 and beyond. And the industry is confident that this growth can be reconciled with its environmental responsibilities through initiatives, initiatives of the International Civil Aviation Organization to create carbon reduction and establishment programs for international aviation, such as CORSIA, one of its initiatives that will begin this year, and also more participation with some governments to push the CO2 emissions to its end. For conclusion, it is a fact that the development of the aerospace industry has marked a before and an after in history, has established a new way of market, tourism, doing business, and mainly has changed the perspective of society. For its part, the development of satellites and space vehicles has served as a pillar for extremely necessary resources such as the internet to exist. That is why the technologies developed thanks to the aerospace industry have become part of our day-to-day. For example, the existence of GPS or free access to the internet. The aerospace industry has become a base of the current global economy. The development of this industry not only represents the opening of more jobs, it also allows the creation of companies that serve as suppliers to the aerospace industry, and that also generate new jobs. Activities derived from aviation and the space industry also benefit, which was also previously mentioned. The current COVID-19 problem has provided us with an overview that thought shows that the absence of the aerospace industry even caused a collapse in the economy. This is an important industry that must be cared for and kept in continuous development. If so, the market lives on society will be even deeper. There is no way to go back on this advance. There is only one way, and it is towards the front. Thank you for watching.